Yeah, sure. Okay, so I am Oimandakh, representing the Whistleblower Platform in Mongolia, the first ever platform actually initiated in Mongolia for the 3 weeks ago. So I'm happy to see you, my friend Timur. Finally, we get this meeting over the phone, over the video call, but unfortunately, the other uh, partners they couldn't attend this meeting. But hopefully, this is the only the beginning of our video calls, and they will be attending the next future calls and meetings. Yeah, what about you?
Oimandakh, glad to see you. Good day, everyone. My name is Timur Khasanov-Batirov. I'm attorney at Eterna law firm, and I'm responsible for the compliance practice. I'm in the office, so sometimes you can see people passing. And guys, what's going on? As a law firm, we got a lot of inquiries from compliance professionals and lawyers across the world about Mongolia. What's going on there? If there is compliance there, and what are developments, what's going on in this beautiful country. And Amanda, thank you, my dear friend. So you found time to meet us and to tell us about Mongolia, about compliance developments. From my side, I will be glad to talk about compliance developments in Eurasia, in the countries of the former Soviet Union. So hopefully we'll have a very fruitful and practical discussion that could be of interest to our compliance and legal community across the world. So Amanda, welcome once again. And can
Thank
you
you very
please
much.
tell us a bit about compliance in Mongolia? So guys, what you got there?
Okay, the compliance is, I suspect, for the all post-Sovietic republics, countries around the world, right? The new system of the management. And unfortunately, it has been there have been quite a step back and forward in, and the mistranslation of the terms that we have never used in Mongolia before, especially in the Soviet time, right? So that these obstacles they actually made this process. They slowed down the process, and we had quite numerous issues around markets with the companies, with the government agencies, and with everybody specialists around Mongolia who were actually developing the compliance. But with the help of World Bank and with the help of international organizations, especially the international organizations in standardization, for example, International Standardization Organization, ISO, right? We were able to initiate the ISO and to nationalize the ISO 19600, which is the compliance management standard, as you know, right? And at the same time, the banking sector, they actually trying to develop the Basel second Basel standards, and they are actually succeeding in this matter. So I think in past 4 or 5 years, Mongolia is just becoming open to all these international standards, especially the to compliance, and see what the importance and why we should actually implement all these standards by the standards, not by actually understanding the market itself and the management regulation by itself. So we are moving slowly upwards, which is good, but steadily we're having the progress, I guess. So this is how we see the standardization and compliance in Mongolia. And the second point is that we nationalized ISO 19600 compliance management standards 3 years ago. So this standard is ready in Mongolian language, and we have numerous law firms and also the individual advisors and lawyers who are actually practicing the compliance advisory and counseling to not only the banking and financial sector, but also to the mining sector itself here. And I think with the help of and good faith of transnational corporations, we are having the influx of compliance, influx of good practices to our country, as well as nationalizing those practices, studying them, and hopefully we will get to the point where we can actually move to the level where the international standardization was made. Is on a point of development right now. So this is briefly what the Mongolian situation is over here. So what about you? What about you guys? What about the Eurasian? We were always concerned about the Eurasian, how we do, how the compliance community is doing in Eurasian community
Oh my
outside
God.
Mongolia.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us the situation in Mongolia. So we'll go into details a little bit now. And before that, I would like to share with you and with our viewers the situation with compliance in Eurasian region. So we have a number of countries here. If we talk about the former Soviet Union, we got 15 countries, and we have different level of developments of compliance in those countries. As in some countries, there is more developed legislation and there are even requirements to compliance programs, like, for example, in Ukraine, or there is also legislative provisions in the Russian legislation concerning the necessity to have certain hallmarks in the compliance programs for the organizations. In the very same time, we see a big interest from major corporations, including those that are from the US and the UK, to develop their compliance programs despite the fact whether there are local requirements or not. So what we've been doing, what we see now, that there is a great interest to compliance, and we see it from Kazakhstan, from Uzbekistan, from Azerbaijan. Companies want to have compliance programs. They want to have effective anti-corruption compliance activities that would be set up based on the US and the UK standards. The main thing is that, as we know, the main enforcement in the world is based on the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. So basically, this is the trendsetter, and the standards that have been developed by the companies in majority of cases are based on the hallmarks of the effective compliance program that were developed by the US Department of Justice and the US Securities and Exchange Commission. So actually, as a law firm, what we do, we help our friends and clients across Eurasia to develop the anti-corruption compliance programs, as we know the reality of these emerging markets. Because as we know, Oimandakh, we are living in the high risk region if we look from the anti-corruption perspective. So what we see now, as you have said, and here we have a good synergy in terms of developments, a lot of interest. Local legislation is in the process of development, but still we are based on the international standards, and that's briefly what we got here. Amanda, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, about your experience in compliance in Mongolia, and can you please tell us a little bit more about Whistleblower Platform in Mongolia? I guess that was the first thing like that in Mongolia.
Yeah, true. This is the first attempt to initiate the Whistleblower Platform by the international best practices, specifically with based on the UK and US, and a bit of influence of Australian cases. So this is the first attempt. We have numerous obstacles and bottlenecks, but at the same time, we know that we have to move forward. If it's not the sudden, spike of our success, might be it might will take quite longer time as we suspected or expected. But at the same time, we are acknowledged from many sectors here in Mongolia, specifically from the mining sector, who are actually doing all the probably around more than 80% of all whistleblowers here at our platform. And hopefully we will do fine. So why Whistleblower Platform? I saw that in terms of when you just transfer from probably a post-Sovietic republic, like you mentioned, 15 republic with the USSR, right? And we were independent, but at the same time, it was the old Sovietic bloc. Anyway, so these systems of democratic regime and democratic and open and transparent developments is needed right now as we see it. So if we want to move in a rapid economic, probably the political development in my country, in our country, we need these best practices implemented in on Mongolian soil. So that's why we, as working as a compliance officer with the Rio Tinto group. Rio Tinto group is, as you might know, the mining conglomerate, Anglo-Australian mining conglomerate. They were developing and implementing their compliance program with our Oyu Tolgoi and Sotko descent mining over here. And then when I was working with the Vestas wind turbine, which is Danish, right? Danish world leader in the green energy. So with the help of these transnational corporations, I became more sophisticated and thoughtful about the implementing whistleblower platform as independent from the state organizations, government organizations. I thought that the whistleblower platform should not be within the government, but outside the government, collecting data, and each whistleblower should be investigated. Each whistleblower should have its own credit for the integral, fair, and just investigation. So, based on this concept, we moved forward. We talked to many organizations, many people during our last 4-year practice, and finally we got at the point we wanted to be only 3 weeks ago. So this time we broadly and hopefully will get in all sectors. Whistleblower platform MAWA will be in all sectors, and we are launching the our marketing program next week. So hopefully we'll get all this together fine. So what about you, Tim? You said you are with the law firm, Eterna law firm. So what cases, what probably obstacles, probably bottlenecks, or might there any mistakes that could actually help develop to get the wrong sides to the best practices, right? What can you tell
Okay.
about the cases, if
All
you
right,
might?
Oimandakh, with great pleasure. So, as you have said, we are people from the Soviet bloc. That's why, for instance, in our culture, it's bad to be a whistleblower. So,
True.
what we have seen that people just don't want to tell information, even about misconduct, even if it's about their company, even if they can do something really good by informing, for example, the company about bad things that's going on and that they are aware of. So that's the first challenge that we know. In the very same time, there is a new fashion, a new trend, and I will be glad to share it with you now. That people here in the former Soviet Union are becoming more and more aware about the possibility to get rewards from the U.S. authorities in case if they inform about the misconduct to the Securities and Exchange Commission. And later on, when there will be a fine against the company that will be imposed on the company, the whistleblower, the informer, will get a chance to get up to 30% from out of this fine. So the people now know about that, and as we see in the region, we see more interest from the whistleblowers to do these things.
Wow, that's I think that's the part where we Mongolian compliance officers, experts, and researchers discussing among the government officials, and we're discussing with the Chamber of Commerce here in Mongolia. So the problem is that you're right. The being integral, being just, being fair is not beneficial right now. So that's why the companies, private sector, they tend to go through the bribes, through the corruption, through the misconduct, through the conflict of interest, because it's faster, more effective, and probably you're right. We had this culture of not blowing a whistle is a good culture, right? But at the same time, hopefully, and fortunate for us, we have discussion among the government and private sector and the civil societies like us about the possibilities of benefiting from blowing a whistle. Probably not like up to 30%, but maybe for the initial period, there might be up to 10%, 5% of each whistleblower, which could lead to the fine and get the benefits from there. So this is a good example of how we could actually appreciate the whistleblowers and involved in the everybody in the whistleblower system. But yet, we still need to get the public awareness on the whistleblower itself. And there is still a misconception about the whistleblower in our society. So we call them rat, we call them snitch, we call them in every name. So, but at the same time, we are trying to reach to the public and get the public awareness on that these whistleblowers are blowing on the illegal, illicit acts, on unfair and injustice. They're just trying to help get the society healthy. So hopefully with the governmental and the Chamber of Commerce and our civil society, we will get to the point where we'll be discussing every month on the each forum, would say, right? Right now, it's unfortunately we do the forums just only once a year, which is not enough. So hopefully we will get to the point where we will be doing at least one time per term, right? 4 times a year, and involving the international organizations, probably international private organizations, and transnational corporations themselves would help us to get a better audience on the public awareness. So this is the point we stand right now. Thank you.
That's a very good development, Oimandakh, and thanks to you and you know what you've been doing. I think we'll be able to change the attitude of the people and make them more aware about what's really good and what's not good. So thank you for this effort. And as part of our compliance community, it's good to have that we have such people as you are who are doing these big things, because I think it's a tremendous change in terms of compliance and what you've been doing now with regards to the whistleblower platform. Amanda, can you please a little bit enlighten for us if there are any legislative requirements for the companies based on the standards which you mentioned, for example, to have compliance programs, or if we still think about international standards like ISO, like American and English laws, or we have something in Mongolian laws already?
That's the problem. That's the sector we are working on, legal environment. Right now, unfortunately, the companies are not required, not legally entitled. There is no legal grounds that they should implement the compliance standards within the company. The only sector that we have right now is banking and financial sector. So in the financial regulatory committee and the Bank of Mongolia, Central Bank of Mongolia, they require to have the compliance unit. They require to get them done with the compliance standards, and that's it. But hopefully, other areas of business, they would be involved in the process. But again, there is no legal strong environment right now. But hopefully we will change it with the public awareness, with the awareness among the private sector, with the communication, and probably not only for the discussion, organizing or arranging the discussion and forums, but also with the uh, influential materials, probably books, websites, and taking a discussion in the social media, which is quite a good environment, quite good spreading environment in Mongolia. And hopefully it's going to be good. And yet, there is now question about the anti-corruption law regulation. Right now, we're still lacking the modernization and the implementation of the international standard requirements onto the Mongolian soil. The problem is here that we still do not see the corruption, still do not see the bribery among the businesses. The law itself requires that the other part, at least one part, on the bribery relation should be the state employee or the state employer who is actually corrupt, right? But at the same time, we need to get done these all new reforms on the anti-bribery laws and law regulations, and see more beyond the FCPA and probably go to the Bribery Act of the UK 2010, right? And see why the best practices lead to the not only to the governmental officials, but lead to the unfair and unjust, given the unfair and unjust advantage to the other people or organizations right now. So we still have to, we have a lot of work to be done, but we're still moving toward them, which is good sign. And we having the hopefully you have the same positive reactions. I'm not sure about your law regulations right now, but can you please describe or tell me about more about your law environment?
Sure, Amanda. And interestingly, almost all what you have said is also fair and true for the many former Soviet Union countries. So for the Soviet bloc, Not in many countries there is legislation that would specifically address compliance and compliance programs. So that's not a big news, and not here. Mongolia is not the one who doesn't have specific legislation. So that's normal in our reality now. In the very same time, as you have said, we have a challenge to promote integrity and ethics as something that bring value to companies, because of course people are thinking about other things, but still there is a good trend that more and more big businesses are thinking about being compliant, and anti-bribery compliant is on top of their minds. So we are in the beginning of the very interesting and challenging journey together with you to change the situation in our region. So in terms of our collective actions, in terms of doing things together, first of all, we are inviting all our compliance and legal friends to join our compliance club. That's the community of legal and compliance professionals across the region. So we have the working language Russian, meaning that those who are in legal and compliance and can speak that language will be more than welcome to join us in order to share best practices and to then together changing the situation, as Oimandakh has said, is something that we need to do. And of course, Oimandakh and dear friends, we are inviting you to participate in the Eurasian Compliance and Legal Forum that we will be doing in Kazakhstan in December. So please come. That will be a great gathering. We already had the first meeting in Kiev, and we had about 100 people from different countries, legal and compliance people. So we were sharing experiences, and we have the very same challenges. So we were listening to speakers across the world. There were about 30 speakers from the biggest corporations who are the legal and compliance people responsible for our region, and they're located in different countries. But still, we, Oimandakh and dear friends, probably you will share our position, face the very same challenges. Necessity to change the culture, necessity to change the business climate, necessity to have legal and compliance standards that will address anti-corruption in our countries. And we are in the very same boat, and it's good that we're together doing these really cool things. Oimandakh, can you please tell us about foreign investors in the country? What's their approach? They should be probably more aware about anti-corruption compliance. Do they take this seriously? How you, based on your experience with international corporations, can share with us your thoughts about the views of foreign investors about necessity of compliance in the country?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to the compliance club. I would be more than happy to join the such platform I've never been to. So thank you very much. And about the situation in Mongolia, it's I would say right now on the upward stream, since there were years of degrading the legal system for the foreign investment. I think it's been 4 or 5 years when we thought that we could just live without outside world, and there were misconception about the foreign investment in terms of just only the cash monies, but the flow was, of course, with the influx of international good practices, international good standards, and international good legal environments we could learn and probably we could advance to. So as you say, it all depends on the political will. But at the same time, I think the upgrading and progress just happened after the presidential election over here in Mongolia, where all three corners of the state power became to one party. So prime minister, the head of parliament, chief of parliament, and president, they all from one party. And finally, probably this is for the second time it happens. First time it wasn't good, but secondly, we have the young people in administration. So, for example, our prime minister, he's 39 or 40 years old, probably. So they're full of hope, they're full of energy, and hopefully we would actually benefit from foreign. We trying to get open more for foreign investors, but at the same time to keep our national values and see what incentives we could have from what we could benefit from the foreign investment, not only in terms of the cash flow, but also in terms of the, as you said, right, the standards, the good practices. So this just happened 2 months ago, and hopefully for the next 3 years we'll be open and moving forward. And at the same time, the good thing, I would say the third thing, good thing is that government officials, they are open. They are more open right now to civil society organizations like us. They are more open to discussions to public, to private sector, since we saw that how what malfunction and what negative sides, negative effect could lead the wrong political or the wrong political will. So right now we are hoping for the best and prepared for the worst at the same time. So this is the situation and the point. But I am on the hoping side. So hopefully we will do get and get the people involved, get the people, public awareness more involved through the social media like we're doing right now. And thank you for your question. And
That's very good and interesting what you have said. So guys, please pay attention to Mongolia. In next 3 years, there will be changes, maybe even earlier. So we cross our fingers, Oimandakh, that it should work. And guys, those compliance and legal people who are responsible for a number of countries or who are responsible for Mongolia, please take in consideration that you have to track the changes, you have to make the compliance programs in order to reach the standards, to reach the legislation that hopefully will be passed. Even it's not, of course, corruption is a bribery, and bribery is always a crime in every country and in Mongolia, of course, as well. So that's why, guys, if you are responsible and you're in charge of compliance in Mongolia, please let us know so we can help you in terms of structuring your compliance activities based on reality that we know and based on international standards, which we also know. So let's keep in touch. Dear Oimandakh, thank you for finding time to talk to us. Thank you for sharing the updates. Thank you for giving us more compliance insights about Mongolia. And we'll be in touch with you because we will track changes. And we'll be glad, dear friends, to participate with in our conversations with Oimandakh, and let's see how it goes. Oimandakh, thank you, and thank you everyone who was with us today. Thank you. Goodbye.
okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your warm welcome, and I would be more than happy to join your club and see you and attend every meeting I in on the compliance and other problem matter as well. Thank you.